If you're a parent, you've probably noticed the world is moving pretty fast, and its ideas are moving right along with it. And if you're like me, you might not be too happy about some of those ideas, especially when you realize they're being forced on our kids at an extremely young age. So, what can we do about that? That's an important question given that we as parents are ultimately responsible for raising our children. Talking to our little ones is a great place to start, and reading to them is a great way to promote discussion. That brings me to a vital resource I want you to be aware of. It's a picture book for readers aged 4 through 9, which introduces the topic of compelled speech to children. Ollie Adamson's Strawberries Are Red, a story about compelled speech, gently introduces this topic and is sure to encourage great discussion between you and your little one. Freedom of speech is essential, and our children should be made aware of this. This book is available on Amazon, and I encourage you to order your copy today. We owe it to our kids. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Clean Libertarian Podcast. How are y'all doing out there? I'll tell you, man, I tasted the best brisket of my entire life today. I went with a buddy of mine down to Texas. We went to, I believe the town is called Argyle, Texas, but it's called 470 Barbecue. Guys, if you're in Texas, if you're going down that way, go grab you some sliced brisket. Holy shit. And here's the other thing, man. It's a barbecue shack up front. Out back is a gun club. So it's like barbecue and guns, man. You cannot beat it. It's so great. What else is going on? So something exciting in the Sober Caucus. Listen, we have raised over $1,000. Guys, it's happening, right? Like, man, that's so cool. The community has really stepped up and put their arms around us, helped us out. They believe in our vision, man. And here's the thing: is there's going to be sober spaces and inclusive, events at a lot of these different LP functions around the country. Moving forward from that, long term, we're hoping to see maybe a couple of scholarships for treatment. That's the broad term goal, is to have a place to where if somebody is in the LP, maybe, even just a member or even a candidate for a campaign, all of a sudden they start really struggling with their addiction or alcoholism, they can reach out to us and we'll get them into treatment, hopefully. So that's the future goal. That's where I want to see this caucus go. But for the immediate sense, we're at least making some changes where we can. And so thank you to everyone who has contributed, who has pitched in. And yeah, man, so exciting stuff all the way around. And I'm especially excited for you guys to hear this episode that I have today with BK. You guys know him from the Dad Roundtables. BK is a very good friend of mine. I've got to know him on Twitter. He's one of the Dad crew. And the guy's just awesome, man. We talk about community. We talk about building what we have in our local communities. And we also talking about looking past some of the downfall of other people, right? Like kind of looking past the politics somebody else may espouse and finding that common ground and working with them. And I don't know, man, it's just a wonderful conversation. You know how I do it around here, man. Nothing but white pills from this podcast. So here is BK. All right, man. So monster trucks, huh?
Yeah, dude. Fucking monster trucks. Never even never watched them, never cared about them, never really got involved in anything like that. And then the wife was, because my kid's he's big into tractors and heavy equipment, that sort of shit. So that's his jam.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man, cool. Well, fuck it. Let's see that. And my wife found it and she's like, hey, we should go and check it out, see what he does. And we fucking showed up, man. 5 minutes in, little fucker's just wired. Dude, he's pumped, like jumping up and down and like clapping and yelling.
Hell
He's got these big old he can't hear himself talking, so he's just fucking screaming. And it's like, I love this.
Was it indoor or outdoor?
Yeah, it was indoor. The Grand Rapids they've got this great fucking venue, Van Andel Arena. It's where the Griffins play. And what they do is every once in a while they'll pull in some random shit, and they just filled that fucker with sand and built like so you picture an ice hockey rink, right?
Yeah.
And right at center ice, they just built this big, kicker, sort of whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then they just let these dudes go nuts. And
dude, that's fucking awesome.
Oh, dude, it was great, man. I honestly, I'm not going to lie, dude. I did not expect it. I thought it was going to be like, I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'll just do this because the kid wants to.
Right.
5 minutes in, I was right there with him. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like,
hell yeah, man.
Dude, it was a great show. And they do it right, man. It's like, it's kind of like wrestling, but with really big trucks. So like they fuck with one another, and like there's this, like they've got their personas, and they come out and they do their shit. It was cool, man. Like I'm sold. I didn't think I'd say it, but after seeing it, dude, I'd recommend it for everybody. That shit was fun.
Well, there you go. Out there, if you're listening, you got some youngsters, take them to a monster truck show. Now, I asked if it was indoor because, like, when I was a kid, that's, here in Oklahoma City, we have a little arena at the fairgrounds, and it was indoor. And holy shit, those things are loud.
Dude,
crazy loud.
I couldn't believe, like, there were people there that didn't have, like, I had my range muffs on. Yeah. So, like, I had my ears. I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit. I couldn't believe there were people that were just sitting in there without them. I'm like, man, that doesn't make any sense. Like, kids without them too. I'm like, man, this is way too loud.
Yeah, tinnitus, dude, forever and ever. That's a permanent ringing right there. That's going to happen in those people's lives, bro. Right. It ain't never going away. But yeah, man, I remember seeing that as a kid, and just being, and still today, man, like I'll see clips. I'm like, dude, those trucks are fucking huge, man.
Yeah.
And like, they're going upside down, and they're doing shit they weren't doing back then.
Dude, like when they do the fucking wheelies on their front tires.
Yeah.
That shit's fucking legit, dude. I mean, like, you really got to practice, and like it's kind of one of those things where every time you see a professional do something, you really genuinely appreciate how much time and effort it took to get that good.
Yeah. And
watching those dudes, I was like, man, there's no way in fuck that I could ever do that. Just no chance,
bro. No, I'd like creep up the hill a little bit, be like, nah, we're good. We're all right.
And like, I'm watching these fucking giant trucks that are like a story and a half tall, fucking 15, 16 foot in the air. And they're also gaining 16 foot in the air off these jumps. And like, in my mind, like, I remember jumping cars when I was a kid, because like we had, like, I don't know how you grew up, but we grew up, kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, and there was a bunch of train tracks and shit like that. So we found the ones that we knew we could jump, and we'd fuck it, like, you mad it, and you go and you're like, fuck it, I hope we make it, sort of shit. And I'm watching that and going like, these dudes are getting twice as much air as we ever dreamt of getting, and they're doing it and they're controlled. Like, I was fucking legitimately impressed, man.
That's the real deal, bro. That's the real deal right there. Speaking of making memories, man, are you much of a fisherman?
Yes. Not as much as I'd love to be.
Okay.
Like the last couple of years, like we just moved back to Michigan a couple of years ago. So now I'm actually getting back into it where I know where to go, like on the rivers and streams that I grew up on. And then we grew up on Lake Michigan. So my dad had a boat, so we'd go big lake fishing.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing, like our freezer's was always full, and that's what we did. But so I'm getting back in now. I got to learn a little bit about the local area because I never fished around here. Like before, when I lived here, the only thing I was really doing was bar hopping,
Yeah.
and like that sort of shit. Like I didn't get outdoors, and then I moved to a fucking bigger city and got even less outdoors. you know, it just got suburbanized essentially. But yeah, no, I'm excited about this spring, man. I'm gonna take the fucking tornado out and teach him how to fly fish.
See, that's where it's at, man. So like where I'm at, central Oklahoma doesn't really have great water anyway. Maybe
Yeah.
eastern is okay, but central, like everything around here is man-made and
Okay.
it's just trashed out to no end, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like public lakes are just dog shit. But I took the kid, it was been a few years, man, but I took her out east and I got her to catch a bass on a lure. I put a wacky rig on and
Okay.
it nailed it, man. And just the look in her eyes. I need to take her back this year. You know, I need to
Yeah.
need to keep doing that, man. Those moments are great, you know.
Yeah, dude, that's one of those things. Like the beauty about having kids and raising kids is like you remember your first time like fishing or hunting or doing it or like jumping on a skateboard or any of those fucking things, you know, like you remember your first times. But the cool thing about having a kid is that you get to watch someone else experience that. And that's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like I love like my memories of learning how to do stuff are great, but I'm having way more fun watching my son learn new stuff that I knew, you know,
Hell
like
yeah.
than I did when I did it. You know, like
Yeah.
because fucking like I it's easy to forget how that joy and that happiness as an adult, but then you see your kid learn something brand new for the first time and do it and pull it off, and you feel like you're more excited about that than you are about anything else.
Yeah,
Because
dude.
it's just like, yeah, dude, fucking you nailed it, man. Like
You got it.
like I think about you know, like watching it, we were with my kid riding a bike, right? I was like, I'm all fuck it, no training wheels, like let the kid fucking learn. And my wife's more like, okay, wait, let's pump the brakes here. Like,
Yeah.
let's not injure him severely. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right. You know, you get that. And she's like, we got to get him a helmet. And I'm like, what the fuck is a helmet going to do? Oh, and then I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever. Fucking
Yeah.
get a helmet. so we put him on and he's got the training wheels. So I, you know, like I gave a little bit for that. I was like, yeah, fuck it, dude. You'll learn your shit. Little bastard takes like 15 minutes to get it. And I'm like, I'm taking those training wheels off. Like just no questions. And popped him off. He got on that and he just fucking took off, dude. And I was like, there we go. Didn't even eat shit. And I was impressed because like I remember eating shit when I was learning how to ride a bike. Dude, like remember that?
So bad.
Yeah, so bad. Right? Just blood everywhere and like picking out gravel out of your arm and your knees and shit like that. And he just he smoked it, man. And then he turned around and came right back. And I'm like, dude, that was way cooler watching you do that than it was me learning to do it. And that's kind of one of those like rewarding aspects of being a parent is that you get to see that shit and you're like, wow, this is a way better experience than what I had, only because like I get to like, you know, like you coach them and you tell them and you train them, you're like, all right, this is what you got to do. But then you also watch them accomplish something on their own and you're like, dude, that's fucking rad, man. That's rad.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So, hey, dude, before we go any further, though, we need to talk about you, man.
Okay.
We got to talk about that Oklahoma Libertarian Party, like the award you got for the advocacy. And like, I mean, tell everyone who's listening about that, because I don't think you've talked enough about it, man. This is a big deal.
Yeah, man, it was kind of cool. So like the OKLP gave me the Activist of the Year award, and this was the first year they gave out one of these awards. So I think I really got it for like the work that I'd done with the party for, you know, the entirety that I've been with them. But man, like, you know, you seen the stuff that we did for like the halfway house. Like we there was a halfway house of a buddy of mine owns, and we had a bad ice storm come through and knocked the power out. They lost all of their food. A couple of the residents lost work. So like, this house was about to fold. Like they weren't going to be able to pay their bills. Like it was over. And, you know, started up a fundraiser and we ended up keeping them open. They now have multiple locations, man. It's not just that one house.
That's
anymore.
Fantastic, man.
Fuck
That's
yeah,
so
dude.
cool. Dude, you're killing it.
It's just, but here's the thing, right? So like everything that I do, it's like stuff that other people have done for me, and I'm just keep doing that thing, right?
Like play it
Because
forward, yeah.
fuck, man, if I don't, then I stay stuck in self. Uh, I don't know, man. Like I'm my own worst enemy, right? Like if I stay
We all are,
here,
dude. We all are.
I'll make it around,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Fuck, I got to stay out of this, and the only way to do that is to, I don't know, kind of get myself involved in somebody else's struggle and like help them make it through that. Then
Well,
maybe.
dude, you're making a difference, man, and that's a big thing. And you know, like, I'm glad that you got recognized for that because I saw it and I was like, that's fucking rad. You know, like
Yeah.
on the
I thought it
fucking
was great, but like there's also that part of me that's like, man, the other people deserve this more than I did. You know what I mean? Like I don't know,
yeah.
man. It's like because I look at the things that I do, it's kind of selfish because like I do it so I don't fucking twist off, right? Like I do it so I could stay sane and stay through my day. You know, it's just happenstance that it's like benefiting other people in the process, but it is what it is, man. It's kind of like getting patted on the back for going to work. It's like, fuck, we all got to go to work,
Oh,
right?
I mean, yes, to a certain extent, but also like the fact is you're changing lives, and that's a big deal. You know, and like you're passionate about what you're doing, and I feel like like I want to give you that recognition because that's important, man. Like there's not a lot of people doing that these days, and like we were talking about it the other day, where we want to get into like I don't know some form of recognizing that just because like you're not living someone else's life doesn't mean you can't respect what they're doing.
Right.
And so, like I see what you're doing. And like, that's a fucking big deal, man. Like, it's really cool. And
What burns me up is that like for every one person that I have the presence of mind to help in a moment, there's probably like 30 or 40 that I don't even recognize need my help that I pass up entirely. And so that's kind of that thing, like, remove head from ass, type of deal. And I don't know, bro. Like it's hard, man. It's real fuck because it's real easy, and it's really easy to see my own problems. And I think we all struggle with this and kind of be stuck in that spot, right? And then like
yeah,
that's everything. My
yep.
problems are everything. And there's value to that. There's certain merit, but at the same time, man, there's a lot of folks out here that need us just as much as we need them, right?
Well, I think, a lot of the thing is that you see the narrative trying to split everybody, trying to like get you into your camp, and that's not necessarily a good fucking mentality at all, but people are falling into it. And I think that there's so much pressure right now to find your, I don't want to say like find your tribe because that sounds like kind of flaky or anything like that. But like, I think we all recognize that like you got to find the people that you agree with right now because things are really bad and you got to focus on that shit. So I kind of lost my train of thought, but what I was going with is that like, we're losing a lot by not just understanding that everyone's going through their own shit. Like that's I think that's the ultimate like underlying theme is everyone else is going through their own shit.
Yeah.
And if you fucking like start spouting off on someone that you don't know or judging someone that you don't know, you're losing so much because you're shutting them off from you right there. If someone comes to me and says, I would love to hear what you have to say about this issue, then I'm going to be like, yeah, fuck it, dude. Let's talk. Like, let's hang out. Let's go through it. I want to hear what you have to say now too, because you're open-minded and like cool with it. But when people just give those definitive, like, no, you're fucking wrong. Fuck you. I hate you. There's no way to work with that.
No,
you can't go any further. And that's where we're at now is that there are so many people that are just like, man, fuck you. I don't care. I don't want to be a part of your shit, and it's like, dude, that's not right because, like I grew up with no God, no religion, no politics, no concept of like who like money or anything like that. Like my parents just kept me outside of everything. And it was a beautiful fucking way to grow up because now I don't like those things aren't important. Now I view it, I'm like, all right, no, tell me about you. Tell me about your life and what you're going through. And we've lost that, man.
Yeah, we
And
have.
it's going bad. And I feel bad for the people who don't recognize that, because all of this shit that's coming and all of the shit that we're dealing with is like shocking to them, which is weird, because to me it's like, no, this was what's going to happen. Like, we watched it play out, like you can't change things that like are just obviously going to happen.
Yeah. I tell you, man, like I've been seeing this happen since 2020, since that summer. You remember the BLM uprising you
Oh yeah.
saw, I mean, across the country. One thing that I noticed during that time is that, okay, I'll specifically call it, because there's a 0% chance he'll ever hear. And if he does, flame me on Twitter or whatever, dude. But Eric July, there was somebody who got like fucked up by one of the cops at one of these protests, right? Like really fucked up in an egregious way. And it was a clip of it.
Yeah.
Saw the person laying down, like the cop was in the wrong. It wasn't an okay thing to do. And, he was like, I don't care about what the cop did to this person. What were their politics? And that's where I was like, whoa, hold on a second here. And I started seeing that left and right? Like I would see it from here and there.
Yep.
And it's always the big follower accounts, the talking heads in the movement, who will espouse this like real tribalistic, our camp versus everybody else's camp. And the reason that they can take that is because they already have their cult-like following. They don't have to worry about working with other people like you and I do.
Yep.
Like we don't have that luxury. We don't have people paying us a Patreon every month. Not that we would want to, but I'm saying like,
right.
We have to work jobs.
We gotta actually go. We gotta fucking bring some money in too.
Yeah. And we gotta live in communities that may not be, cherry picked, to our liking. It's just, it is what it is, man.
Yeah. That's one of those like interesting aspects though, is that, and I've noticed this since I got on Twitter, which it was like Twitter totally revolutionized the way I saw the world. And I'm not going to lie about it. Like it really actually, because it brings in so many different perspectives, and you can kind of pick and choose like where you fit in and who you want to listen to. And you can create an echo chamber, or you can create this broad spectrum of opinions and kind of like get a solid, example of how society works. It's a really like social media is fucking wild. Just in and of itself, it's crazy. And like but you can, if you're honest about it, if you're objective, you're open, you can find voices, like reasonable voices that come from different perspectives that will tell you about, like will give them their opinion, and you'd be like, oh shit, well, I didn't really think about it like that. It doesn't necessarily change how you think about the subject, but it changes how you work with the subject.
Right.
And like you were just saying, is that like you see someone, you're like, okay, yeah, wow, like that's, I agree or I disagree totally.
Man.
But you have to find like, all right, is it now, like, as opposed to just getting fucking irate and screaming at them, do you instead be like, man, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to reread this, like clear-minded. I'm just going to walk through it and I'm going to read it from their perspective. And I'm going to try to understand where they're coming from. And then when you get done, you can apply how you think about the situation and find it. And we've lost that. We've fucking totally lost it. And it's just not there anymore. And it's like, man, if everyone just fucking sat back, shut the fuck up for a couple minutes, actually listen to everybody else, we wouldn't be like, fucking so angry at everybody.
No, we really wouldn't, man. And that's kind of the thing. So more often than straight up, man, I came from the left, bro. Like I came from the left. Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes,
what?
Like
Dude, tell the story.
I chipped in for Bernie's 2016 campaign. I gave that man money. No, for real. For real. I did.
Wow.
I
Okay,
actually
so
did.
now is it because like how you grew up, or
No, well, I maybe because like my parents were like straight up Republican, like, big time Republican. And I think that's kind of, and just to theorize too. So like, I listen to a lot of punk rock. I love punk rock. Punk rock is like
fuck
my,
yeah,
my
dude.
genre, right?
Yep, that's my
New
jam.
punk, new punk is very hardcore left. Old punk, kind of, but you could also find plenty of more conservative examples.
Dude,
You know,
I think
I think, uh,
I mean, if we want to get into punk rock, which I think we could table for later, but because like that's a whole different thing. But I'm gonna tell you right now, fucking flat out, Dead Kennedys, if they had been like, if they were fresh now instead of way back in the day, they would have been canceled. They would have been supported by probably like one weird aspect, but the fact of the matter is like they were anti-government, and they wouldn't be accepted by the people who are anti-government, and they would be embraced by the people who are pro-government. Like that's
yeah,
how fucked up our time is that like these fucking old school punk bands, man, like they nailed it. They knew what the fuck was up,
yeah,
and they
dude.
were way ahead of their time. And those of us fucking jammed to them, like we know, we're like, oh shit. Now, like when I was younger, I'd hear them be like, oh, this is a catchy tune, like I like it, and I feel like rebellious. I'm a fucking punk rocker. Now I'm a fucking old ass dude. Like, I wake up and my back hurts just because I slept wrong. That's not fucking punk rock. But
No,
I still listen to those dudes, and like now I hear their songs and I'm like, fuck, you guys knew what the fuck was up. Like you
yeah,
called it out. Like you really were spot on. Like the problem is not anything but the government,
hmm
and like it's something that like everybody should listen to punk rock.
fuck yeah.
Like old school.
So like, especially like Crass, right? So okay, this is
Yeah.
a pretty hardcore for their time leftist band, but they also have a song called Bloody Revolutions, and they specifically call out Marxism as being another
Nice.
bullshit
Yep.
system. And you think about that, and they're so right. Like any system, what do they say? Systems kill, right? Across the board,
Mhm.
like all government is force. And
Yeah.
so you listen to something like that. And then my last punk show that I went to, there was this band called Cop Out playing. And Cop Out, these guys were young enough to be like the people in Crass's kids.
All right.
And they're like openly advocating like big government, big this, big that, big
What the
socialism,
fuck?
and then also saying like cops are evil, kill cops, fuck Trump, all of this thing. And it's like, dude, I mean, you get it, like Trump's a piece of shit for sure, but let's just take
Right.
it like cops are government, bro. Like, like we gotta acknowledge it. So it's almost like just the same way I rebelled from my parent, and this is, I'm gonna circle it back because my ADD
Oh
brain
yeah.
went off.
Yeah.
But
There we go.
so I was raised in a Republican household, ended up bleeding pretty hard, leaning hard left. I think it's kind of the same way with some of these punk bands, right? Like they like the genre, they like the sound, they enjoy the music, but they also have a drastically different mentality when it comes to how to fix the problems that we're faced with today.
Okay. Yeah. No, yeah. Yep. I see
See what I'm
that.
saying?
Yep. Absolutely, man.
Bugs the shit out of me.
Well,
Hardcore.
because look, the fact of the matter is, right, is our old like the punk rock that we grew up on. That punk rock was angry. That punk rock was fucking aggressive. That punk rock was pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
And that's what caught us. And like anybody who listened to it, those in the like mind, they know is that it wasn't just about the music. It was about the fucking emotion.
Yeah, dude.
Now, dude, you watch you see this shit, and like the emotions seem fake. It doesn't seem like like everyone wants to talk about how angry they are about stuff, but like all the stuff that they're angry about is fucking bullshit. Like it's not. It doesn't seem important. It's like, why are you focused on this? And that's why like the old school punk rock still resonates, particularly with our age group. Because we're like, yeah, no, like we're still actually fucking pissed off. We're still angry. Yeah, like you guys are fucking everything up, and you're preventing us from fixing it because all the fuck we need is like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
just fucking let us do our fucking thing for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll fucking solve your problems, and then we'll go away because we don't want to fucking be involved. And I think that's something that like is it's the I suppose kind of some sort of white pill, if you will, about our generation, you know, like that Gen X to upper millennial sort of generation, is that like we really are just fucking tired of the shit and we just want to fix it and get the fuck out. You know,
that's it, man.
We don't want power. We don't want to fucking control things. We legitimately just want everyone to stop fucking with us. And then we just want to go and do our own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality is going to win out. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think that there's something there. You know, I really genuinely believe that like there are enough people now that are just fucking tired.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's also, so like for a lot of us, right? I don't know about you, but I learn by failing. That's the only way I learn.
Yeah.
You cannot suggest a fucking thing to me, man. Like I ain't listen to that. I have to do it wrong. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't work.
Yeah.
You can only touch that burner on the stove so many times and burn your hand before you start to remember that person who said, hey man, that stove's hot. And then you're like, oh shit, you are correct. That stove is hot.
Motherfucker does burn me.
And then I have to come up with my own idea on how not to touch that hot stove. And I think that's kind of where our generation is at. Like we see, we would all want the world to be a certain type of way, right? Like, yeah, man, I would love for racism and homophobia and poverty and hunger and war and all these things to be gone in the blink of an eye, but it ain't going to happen by giving the system more money.
Right. Right.
It ain't never going to happen like that, man.
I mean, honestly, if you legitimately think that doing the same goddamn thing that got us into the situation to fix the situation is going to fucking work, then you're like, I can't fucking reason with you anymore. I can't. No. And that's, you know, like we were talking earlier about trying to like build bridges, but there is to a certain extent, there are people that you cannot communicate with because like we were just saying, like, I'm sorry, if the same thing that we've been doing for this long is fucking everything up and your answer is more of the same thing that's fucking it up, I can't take you serious. It's not like, it's nothing personal. I'm not like being mean. I'm not being angry. I don't want to fucking like, I don't wish any ill will on you whatsoever, but I can't fucking talk to you. You know, like I can't reason with you. It's just not going to happen because if you legitimately think that what is happening right now and the proposed solutions to everything are right, then you're not recognizing the base problems, you know, like and so it's hard. And like, I feel bad because, you know, like I've got a lot of family members that kind of drift way out to the left. You know, and I, you know, for years and years, I've been the way I am anyway. Like, fucking never liked government. Like, fucking just always been like, yeah, all right, he's fucking crazy. So, like, I'm used to it. But one thing that I did learn is like, all right, you know, put politics away with family, put politics away with friends, just kind of fucking let it go. But when they bring it in, you gotta just be like, no, dude. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to give you the fucking heads up and you're going to have to deal with it because I'm right. It's not, you know, like,
no, I mean, for real.
You know, fucking you just be like, but I'm right. Okay. And I've proven that I'm right so many times that like, we can't have this conversation anymore. So now let's lose the emotions that are tied into like the political and the religious and all that shit. Like, put your emotions aside and just remember that, like, we care about one another. Yeah. Like, it's cool. And it's easy to just, like, we can be chill. Yeah. We can't agree, but, like, fucking relax, man. You know, like, I mean, it's not important.
It's like this, right? So, like, if I see you laying on the side of the road, you got a broken arm, you're bleeding, you need medical attention right now, I'm not going to run up and be like, hey, man, what political spectrum do you fall in? Right.
Right.
And I wouldn't and I don't think they're going to ask me the same thing either. Right.
Right.
Well, where we are at right now is like, dude, we are watching a bunch of people walking in the middle of a street with a bunch of semi trucks coming careening towards them.
Pretty
Okay, we're
fucking
about to see a
much, man.
lot of people injured. We had the president of the United States standing up at a press conference admitting that, yeah, there's going to be food shortages.
Yeah, dude, I saw that shit. That's
Bro,
fucked up.
bro, what? I
Think of-
mean, what?
Okay, first and foremost, could you ever picture any president saying that up until now? I mean,
No.
really, like, think all of the history, just like, you never hear. I saw that and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, if you know some shit, you should tell us. Because like,
what are you not saying, bro?
right? Because like, if you're like, you're already hedging your bets with, yeah, people are gonna go hungry.
Yeah.
That's not a good fucking
No,
look.
bro. That's the soundbite of the downfall right there.
Dude,
That is the soundbite of the downfall. Like,
I think, you know, the shittiest part about it is it's become so politicized that they won't even tell us just basic truths. And that's unfortunate. Because if government was transparent and honest, I wouldn't be that pissed off about it. You know, it would never bother me. It would just be like, fuck it. All right, whatever. You guys do some things. I don't give a shit. Leave me the fuck alone. But because because they don't actually fucking tell us what they're doing, they take on this nefarious sort of role where like I honestly legitimately cannot trust them because they've never shown like any honesty or transparency.
none.
So now when they say all this stuff, I watch it and I'm going, you're fucking with me, dude. That's gaslighting.
Gotta be, right?
Yeah, like just not even like I don't even care. Like it doesn't even. They could be telling me about the fucking weather. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna go outside instead because I don't trust you fuckers.
Yeah. I mean it's that. So there's two types of people, right? And it's kind of like this: the people who learn by touching the hot stove, and they learn not to do that anymore. And the people who keep touching the fucking stove well into their 60s. And we see it happening. Okay, so
the boomers. Oh no.
We were driving back. We went down to Texas today with a buddy of mine. We went and picked up a truck he bought and got some badass barbecue. It was great. And then we're driving through Ardmore, Oklahoma. Do you know where Ardmore, Oklahoma is?
No, I know very little about that area.
That is exactly my point. There is a Ukrainian flag flying on the side of the highway in Ardmore, Oklahoma.
What the fuck?
The person who put that flag up has burned their hand on the stove continuously over and over again. And it's like, it's just this shallow ass virtue signaling that I don't know, man. I know that I kind of feel like we're blackpilling the audience at this point, but
fuck, you know what? Fuck the audience, man. Anybody who, let me get this out of the way. Anybody who's listening to this, fuck you. You're probably a fucking cunt anyway. I don't give two shits. Fuck right off. Get that out of the way. That way.
I will take the opposite stance and say I love you guys. But so like we see this happening, right? But in the middle of all this, and you touched on it earlier, and I happen to agree. If we could find that common ground in between me and that one person, if I can usually peg like what are some areas I should not talk to you about within the first 5 minutes of meeting you. You know what I mean? Like definitely tell that like the person who put that up in Ardmore, Oklahoma, I probably shouldn't talk to about legalizing recreational black tar heroin. But maybe we can have a conversation on how tax dollars don't seem to fix these fucking potholes. How no matter who gets voted into office, we see the disparity, continue and progress. And, you build from there, right? And I think that's that kind of thing. And, we talk, you and I, and the rest of the guys on the Dad Roundtable constantly talk about building community.
Yeah. Yep.
And man, no matter what, I don't know what we have on the horizon. It doesn't look good. I'll tell you that much.
No.
But there's going to be people that we're going to have to work with we don't agree with on everything.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, that's kind of like one of the really cool things, though, is that, like, yeah, you don't agree with somebody on everything, but that's a fun time to like actually start talking. Like
Yeah.
that's when you start getting in like engaged and like finding out little things. Because fucking man, like it's way better to talk to someone who doesn't think like you than it is to talk to someone who thinks exactly like you.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, like I love being challenged. I love seeing it. And what I think what they've kind of fucked with us over the last couple of years with is they made us enemies.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
they've focused on trying to separate, and I don't think that's right, man. Like even people I don't agree with at all, you know, politically, religiously, anything like that. So like, yeah, but you're still a fucking dude, you know.
Yeah.
We still hang out, we still talk. It's
Yeah.
not, you know, like we're dealing with the same shit. Like we're both going to the gas station. We're both, you know, like taking out the trash. We're both fucking dealing with kids, family, work, job, life, everything like that. We have so much more in common than we do separate. But everything about media right now is trying to like remind us of the small differences.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. I think that's why, you know, like Michael Mouse is fucking spot on when he said like the media is the fucking enemy. They
Yeah.
are the enemy now. Like they just keep making us tribes instead of like saying, hey, because remember when you were young, dude, like the news was the news, you know, like they just told you what happened that day and that was it.
That's done. Yeah.
That was the news.
Yeah.
But now, man, like you watch it, I do it for almost like, you know, just to make sure that I'm paying attention to see like what the narrative is.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, now it's like
And,
that clickbait ticker banner at the bottom and 4 hours of confirmation bias.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all
Yep.
it is. I mean, it's just and they move from topic to topic doing the same fucking thing. Whereas, you know, back when you and I were coming up, man, maybe there was like elements of that, but man, it wasn't anywhere near what it is now.
Dude, it didn't seem like it though. You know, like
Yeah.
it seemed like we just got the news and then it was done. You know,
Yeah.
like and then it cut off and went right into your like sitcoms or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But now, man, I watch it. It's just like if you buy into it too much, dude, you're fucked.
Yeah, you're done. You're toast, man. Like my dad, him and I, you know, we don't really talk anymore, but he lives on a mountain in the middle of nowhere. He lives, so like he retired, moved out of the
Okay.
city, moved up to the top of a mountain with his wife, and they watch Fox News all day.
Oh
I can
shit.
guarantee you the conversations that are happening in
Oh
those
yeah.
rooms. I haven't
Yep.
talked to him in years. I know what that man thinks today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
just
Oh yeah.
based on that information, you know,
Yep.
just crazy. But so here's kind of a cool thing I've noticed, right? So I'm working in the mental health and substance abuse field, which is kind of a newer transition for me, you know, given that I've driven a truck for fucking years and now I'm
Right.
doing this. This industry has been absolutely invaded by like the woke mindset. That is who runs these
Really?
facilities. Oh my God, yes. Like that
Okay.
is
Like it, so how does that bleed over into the day to day?
so like what that looks like is a lot of people okay, we don't say Latina or Latino, we say Latinx. We talk
What
about
the
people. Yes, crazy.
dude, even Latinos don't like that.
They hate it. My daughter's
Yeah.
half Hispanic, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, do you think her family's going for that shit?
Right.
No, you know, at all. And so it's just little things like that. There's a lot of there's cultural what do they call that, man? It's basically like a workshop you got to attend, right? They got cultural workshops where
Okay.
we're dealing with the general public, and so they want us to be sensitive to other people's things. And it's been an exercise for me because, like, it's not that I don't want to understand. I'm open to the idea of like your pronouns being this or that, whatever. Like, I just need time to learn. I need some grace, and so far they've
Yeah.
shown me that, and I'm getting
Okay.
there.
Cool.
But I knew this kind of going into it. And so as a result, I do not talk about politics, especially my politics at work. Right? Because I know what that will result in.
Yeah.
So as a result, I've been able to kind of get to know these people absent of the politics they espouse because they kind of share. I think they could kind of tell where I would
Mhm.
fall on the spectrum, but they don't.
Yeah.
So I get to know who they are beyond that,
See, that's
beyond that
cool,
shit.
man.
It's
Yeah,
way cool, man.
it's way better, dude. It's way better.
Yeah.
Um, like I mentioned earlier, like I was raised without religion and without politics. My parents, they didn't take me to church because I told them I didn't want to go, and they were like, "All right, cool."
Yeah.
Uh, they never talked about politics and they never talked about money. Those were the three. And so no religion, no politics, no money. So I grew up in this way, like where if I asked a question, they give me the answer, but they never told me about like how they felt or what they thought or what
Yeah.
other people felt or what other people thought. So as I got older, it was like, wow, so these things actually really don't matter. Like because people put and I understand why
Yeah.
people put so much weight into them, but realistically, dude, they don't really matter that much when you're talking like dealing with just in like one-on-one relationships, shit like that. It's like I can forget all of those and just talk to a person, and it would be really cool if everybody else could kind of start doing that. Because I feel like I feel like that's the biggest thing is that like those are two giant fucking concepts, and yeah, like they're important to people, but that doesn't mean that you judge other people according to them. And
Yeah,
I
dude.
think that makes a little bit of sense.
No, it does. It absolutely does, man. And so I think that's a valuable lesson that we can, extract from this conversation is just wherever somebody's at in their community, like lead with the commonality. Lead
Yeah,
with that.
like just fucking chill out, man. Like have a laugh. And
unless you're socially just absolutely inept, in which case you're probably in a basement all day anyway, not ever coming outside to talk to the general public. You will be able to tell like where a person lands. Like, dude, confrontation has its place, but it's not all the fucking time. We weren't built like that, man.
Yep.
We weren't.
We're better when we work together. It doesn't necessarily mean we're working for someone. It means we're working with someone. And I think that's a really big fucking like important like differentiation. So like you can work with people and you don't have to do anything other than just accomplish that goal.
Yeah.
But don't work for people. Like that's, or I shouldn't say don't work, but I mean like don't work for the people who want this is fuck it. I'm just
no. It's tracking. I get what you're saying, man.
Right.
Like don't
trying,
you can work with people, but don't let them lead you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you can still be autonomous.
Yeah, like you still got your own you got your own shit.
Hell
like
yeah.
Just fucking run with it. Like I don't know, man. I feel like we've kind of lost our concept of individuality too.
Yes, without a doubt we have. And here's the one thing too that like this is a brain virus. This thought that I'm about to put out there is that you see it year after year. So we switch from a Democrat administration to a Republican. Where Democrats complain about the thing the Republican does. Then the Republican fan says, "Well, you remember when your Democrat did the same thing to us?" And it flip flops every year, right?
Yeah,
and so it's a constant. It's like at what point? What we need to do is we need to hit that point to where it's like that shit didn't matter then. We have a crisis today in front of us. Let's focus on this together, and move forward, right? Like the eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind. Like, dude, and I'm not saying like if somebody fucking shoot your dog, shoot them in the head and fine. But if somebody called you a bad word last week and they need your help today, maybe fucking swallow your pride, man, and help somebody else. Show some fucking humility.
Yeah, well, I mean, fucking humility, compassion, empathy, sympathy, all of these things. Like, dude, it's not hard to show them. Like, you don't have to live your life according to them, but it's not hard to show them. Right. It's not. Fucking do the right thing for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Just every once in a
That's
while.
it, man.
And it's so weird. Like when I see people, this is one thing that fucking gets me that I'll never fucking forgive people for. Do not fucking leave your shopping carts in the fucking parking lot. Don't
Yes.
fucking do it. Like, because like there's no coming. If I see someone do that, there's no coming back. Like I've judged you entirely.
Yeah.
I will never fucking respect you because that is some fucking bullshit. And
Yeah.
like I think there's even a fucking theory about this. I think like some sort of anarchist, like do what you do. But the shit that fucking pisses me off the most is those motherfuckers that just leave that goddamn cart just sitting there, and then you got to avoid it with your car, or like in my case, like I just go grab the bastard and put it in the fucking crowd. But like the fact of the matter is you just such a dick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
dude.
things, it's that concept, that mentality that hasn't been there for a long time. Like before, back we were cool, but now, man, no one's actually just kind of taking the time to be like decent. And it's a little fucked up, like that's kind of what makes me worried about all of the international shit that's going on, simply because if I knew that like we were good locally and like had a good mentality concerning like just ethical behavior in society,
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, we're going to be fine. But we don't have that now we've got this split and all this shit going around like on around the globe. I'm like, man, this is fucking treacherous. Let's go ugly real quick.
Yeah, man. Real ugly real quick. This divided society falling under the shadow of a looming world war won't stand. I mean, it can't.
I don't.
And I'm not saying that, the recollections and renditions that we have of this country during World War II is entirely accurate.
Right.
But I do think that like what we could take away from what was going on then versus what is going on now, that country was a lot more closely tight knit than we are today. So if this society is going to make it through a struggle as massive as a world war, especially with, modern warfare tactics and things like that,
right.
man, we're going to need to get real cool with each other real quick.
Exactly, man.
That's all there is to it.
Everyone's going to have to fucking be real cool with a lot of weird shit real fast.
Man. Yeah. Get real chill about that.
I don't know if it's going to fucking work. I don't know. It's kind of weird now. Like we talk about how the society shifted in the way it views everything. You can see now like this newer generation coming out of schools and then see what they've been teaching in schools. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, this actually explains things. Like this is a really good, because like we were in our age group, we were the test subjects at that, like, so they just kind of refined it. And now, because I'm watching them come out, and like my cousin's daughter, she went to school and came back and was just like full on, like as far as you can go left as possible. And I was like, and she's she's a sweetheart and I love her, but I was like, I have a few words right now. But I saw it, and then like all my friends who actually became teachers, like I watched them kind of like shift the mold. I was like, wow, I didn't even recognize this. But like we were talking about earlier, like with this society, is that there's chance that like we might just have to kind of go our own ways, and like you do you, we'll do what we want to do, and everything will be fine.
Hell yeah.
I hate saying creepy shit like that because I know the feds are watching. Hey, wait just a second. Hey, give a shout out to Carl. Hey, Carl, how you doing, man? Say hi to the wife and kids.
Oh shit. Well, hey, man. I feel like we've really kind of touched on a lot of bases where the need for community to exist. But before we wrap it up, like, what are some things do you think that we can be doing? Like, what are some ways that we can mend those bridges that have long been gone in our
Oh
communities?
man, one of I don't know, like I'm not perfectly educated in this, but I believe Christ said that like you got to forgive people their sins. Um, so don't like we don't need to hold anything against these like anybody who disagrees with us. Like we
Yeah,
should just kind of like chill the fuck out. Be like, yeah, dude. You know, like I my little brother's a Liverpool fan and I'm an Arsenal fan. So like I don't hold that against him. You know, I'm just like, yeah, you're not right, you know, because Arsenal's the best team, but like I still give him credit for, you know, like, all right, dude, but I can live with it. Like that's gotta be the mentality. It's just gotta fucking something about this, like we've got a choice. We've still got a chance. We've got to fucking like just let shit go. Don't forget what happened. Never forget because we got to learn from the history and everything like that. And there's a lot of people like with the last couple of years that I'll never forget what they did, and I'll probably never forgive them. But those are the people in power, and they earned it. But the day to day, man, just like we got to chill the fuck out. We're all
yeah,
getting so worked up over so much shit. Like everything just fires us day in and day out. Relax, forgive people, you know, like be cool. Just because we don't agree with every fucking thing doesn't mean we can't hang out and get along. I don't know. I've seen so many relationships just fucking burn to the ground in the last couple of years due to, you know, like either the lies or the politics or just the bullshit, you know, like everything. And it fucking breaks my heart. It's like, dude, you guys gave up something good for something that you didn't even fucking know. And like, it's like, let it ride.
yeah.
Just let it ride. I
There's this
don't know
there's
what to
this
think.
guy, Pat the Bunny. He's got this song, and it says, "No one's gonna stop you from dying young and miserable and right. If you want something better, you got to put that shit aside."
Hey, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yo,
there's a
you
lot of
guys,
truth to that,
dude.
man.
Because look, you know, that's I don't have any social media other than Twitter, and that's how, you know, like that's how you and I came across one another and how we started to build this relationship. And the only reason that I still stay on Twitter is because just about everybody that I follow, well, maybe they're gonna be fucking, they're gonna say something, someone's gonna say something funny as fuck. And
Yeah,
that's the only reason I get on there too. And the only reason I type anything out is because like we should be fucking with everything.
yes,
You know, like
yes,
we should be having fun. We should be smiling. We should be laughing. We should be like pulling practical jokes on everybody in our lives. We should be fucking blowing stuff up. And, you know, like these are the things that we should be doing. And we've all fucking lost it. We've lost it. We're not having the fun that we used to. And
yeah,
I'm single-handedly going to not really do any work to make anybody get back there, but I'm also just gonna start fucking, you know, throwing flaming hatchets at fucking like my
well,
shed. And like
we got a philosophy we live by in the rooms, man, and that is attraction rather than promotion.
there it
So,
is.
so by living a life that is fun, while somebody who's miserable sees that and they're like, man, what's that? What are you doing to get there, right? And they
Right.
start to follow along, man. So I think that's just as valid as any other suggestion somebody could come up with. But
It's time, man. It's time. We gotta fuck with shit. We're
yeah,
not fucking with shit enough.
there it is, man. Well, brother,
Oh,
thank
man.
you so much for coming on,
Hey,
man.
dude, I sincerely apologize for costing you probably like 30 to 40 followers after this. They're gonna
Man,
fucking listen to this shit and be like, oh my god, he's fucking dealing with this bastard. But
no,
man,
they
thanks for
they
having me
love you,
on,
and so
dude.
do I, man. So
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. I'll
anytime, brother.
you know, I'll go and fuck off now.
All right. All right, there you have it, guys. BK, brother, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I hope that you guys got something out of that. I hope that maybe that can be the rallying cry for you to go out this week and, look for that person you can help in your community. maybe look at that person who you have not really liked just because they voted for a different guy than you did. Here's the thing, man. Those neighbors we have, those people within our community and in our circles, they are the ones who are going to be there when everything else falls away. So we either learn to live with them, learn to work alongside them, or you're going to have that much more output when it comes to fighting, right? So let's not do that, man. Let's be good to our fellow man. And I also want to make a little correction. So here's the thing. What you guys don't see is week after week, I will sit here and record countless intros and outros because I will mess something up. But I'm on a roll tonight. I'm feeling confident. So that intro was a one-shot deal. I got that done the first time around, which is huge. But I also made an error. I said that I went to 470 barbecue, and that is not it. I went to 407 barbecue is the name of that joint. So I'm not going to go back and re-record that because that's just going to start that spiral, right? So we're just going to roll with it. But I've made the correction here, and that's all you need to know. So anyway, man, thanks a lot for tuning in, checking out the show. I have a great song for you guys. So I have had this song kind of creep into my brain every now and again since I was a teenager. I remember hearing it way back when and thinking, man, this song is so damn good. But I never knew the name of the band, and I didn't even know the name of the song. And I had it pop in my head here recently, and thank God for Google, because the couple of lines in the song that I remembered, I Googled it, found the band, found the song, thanks to, the search engine. And so, yeah, this is ass-kicking, great punk rock. This is a band called Yuppie Side, and the song is called Meat Packer. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.
We've been doing this far too long. Now it's second nature. We no longer worry